It seems inevitable that after a while playing video games, you start getting the urge to create something yourself. There are a lot of YouTube videos where people talk about how they quit their job to make their dream game full-time. For some people, it turns out pretty well, and their success story is very inspiring to all of us. For others, things are not that simple. This was my dream game, and I probably won't make it anytime soon. Let me explain how big expectations led me to quit my game and what I decided to do to finally publish a game on Steam. When people say they have a dream game idea, it's usually something complex, with a lot of different mechanics, huge graphics, maybe a deep story, multiple choices, maybe even multiplayer. And usually it's also the first game we try to make. But for some reason, we feel really confident in our ability to make it work. So we dive into it with very little to no experience at all, and sure, the first few hours we spend playing with the game engine, it's actually quite fun, and we feel like we are making good progress. After a while working on that dream game, it's very easy to feel discouraged. If it's the first game you make, chances are your project quickly becomes messy, with scripts that are thousands of lines long, UI that feels unresponsive, broken animations, and your project might break down entirely if you remove a single line of code. When game developers fail to complete their projects, it's not because they didn't put enough effort in it. It's just that inexperience inevitably leads to questionable decisions. The problem is, it's kind of a vicious circle. You don't want to quit, because quitting would mean restarting all over again without anything concrete to show. And it's totally normal to feel this way. It's a well-documented psychological bias called the sunk cost fallacy. You already invested so much time or so much money in something, you might as well keep going, right? So you push through. And slowly but surely, you start treating your game like a chore. You don't get enjoyment out of it anymore, and you may even ask yourself, is game development really for me after all? Does it sound familiar to you? Because it surely does to me. I had two big game projects. The first one was Hellspresso, a chaotic restaurant game inspired by Overcooked, PlayTap, and Diner Dash. You play as a cute ghost opening a restaurant in hell. It was the first game I did that wasn't just a prototype or a game jam. The first game that got a Steam page, my first big project. But at the time, I didn't know how to write clean code, so I lost a lot of time dealing with bugs and mistakes. Plus, the game design wasn't clear, so I was constantly implementing big features just to remove them later on. I managed to publish a demo for Steam Next Fest 2 years ago. This game still has around 1,000 wishlists, even with just a buggy demo, so clearly there is still interest. I'll talk more about Hellspresso at the end, because I do have some news. I needed a break from that project, and that's when my second game came in. A narrative 2D game about mental health and grief, where you play as a cat in a typical French village, helping struggling villagers through observation, deduction, and emotional conversations. I was inspired by games such as Neversong and Spiritfarer. I even received a government grant to write the game design document, and I wrote a huge one. Dozens of drawings, character profiles, story outlines, dialogue, a lot of systems, everything. I also participated in the Game Cup, which is a French competition for indie games, and I won a prize just with the idea of the game and a few graphics. But this game doesn't exist. The scope was simply too big. I underestimated how much work a fully playable narrative game would require. In 2025, I worked in a mobile game studio as a game developer, and even though it was a truly amazing experience, which got me to meet very cool people and greatly improve my coding skills, that job left little energy for personal projects. That explains why I haven't been around a lot this past year. Yeah, sorry about that. Unfortunately, as you may know, the video game industry isn't going too well right now, with many layoffs. The studio closed at the end of 2025, leaving me unemployed, but motivated again to pursue the indie dream, at least until I could find a stable job again. I've been making games for about 7 years now. I have a lot of prototypes on my computer, and I also participated in a lot of game jams. But I had never actually released a game. I knew something had to change. If you've been into indie game development for a while, you've probably noticed a new kind of meta slowly emerging. Make small games. Control your scope. Reduce it again, and release games over a short period of time, usually between 3 to 6 months. The important thing is to get to the final line of your game and to experience the process from start to finish, instead of working years on a big project that no one will ever play. The benefits of this are multiple. First, you actually ship something. Makes you feel more and more confident in your ability to finish a game, and with every game shipped, you gain skills that you can reinvest to tackle bigger games every time. Second, you don't feel as pressured. If a game doesn't perform well, it's not the end of the world because you only spend a few months on it. You have other games on your backlog and you learn something valuable along the way. Multiply the games you actually publish and you will multiply your chances of success. And lastly, it's also much easier to break even with a small game. You don't need to sell as many copies to justify the development time. It's basic math. Over the past few years, more and more game developers on YouTube started advocating for this approach. Monkey, for example, is strongly advising new game developers to spend 6 months maximum on a project. Doot, the developer of the small management game Minami Lane, often talks about how making small games leads to a healthier and happier life. At the start of January 2026, I decided to follow this advice myself. My New Year resolution was this one: publish 2 games on Steam. So, first game, I gave myself 3 months to publish a game. That was the goal. I decided I would submit a demo to Steam Next Fest and release the full game the week after. I didn't even have a proper game yet, but I was locked in. I had previously made a small mobile prototype called Cozy Color, a simple puzzle game where you drag colors around. So I decided to turn that into a real Steam release. I play a lot of cozy games, and for this, I took some inspiration from Cozy Solitaire and Museum. From the beginning, I knew this wouldn't be a massive success. The niche is very small, mostly people who enjoy color by number games, art lovers, maybe cat lovers. It's just a relaxing coloring experience where you can pet a cat while learning about how Mondrian reinvented abstract art. It's not a bullet roguelike, it's not a roguelike tower defense, not a management game, not a fun party game either. And you know what? I was fine with that. Even if my project was a small coloring game most people would ignore. My objective for this game was clear: publish it on Steam. That's all. I didn't care about wishlists, I didn't care about how many content creators would cover it or how many copies I would sell. I wanted to experience the full cycle of releasing a game, following common advice and trying to do everything right. I made a Steam page, I created a trailer, I added GIFs to the description in the Steam page, I localized the game in 12 languages, I posted shorts on YouTube and even TikTok, I shared updates on X and Reddit. I also contacted around 100 cozy content creators with personalized email and demo keys. 2 weeks ago, the demo went live. Around a dozen content creators played it and gave feedback. It was very valuable. Now, I'm confident that people who enjoy this kind of game will have a good time. And that's enough for me. The game releases on March 9th, 1 week after Next Fest ends. And after that, I'll probably move on. I will start working on Hellspresso again. I'm also starting a new job at another mobile game studio, but this time I want to keep building my own project on the side. I feel motivated again. For the first time, I feel confident in my ability to actually ship games. And honestly, that might be the biggest win of all.